I don't know why you would want it to be a terrorist attack or a protest and not one or the other. And if it was a cover-up, it's the worst cover-up in history since the president himself came out and called it an act of terror very shortly thereafter.
I mean, look, what I've seen here is that the right has begun with a thesis. This is a scandal of epic proportions. What is your evidence? We have lots of questions. Questions are not evidence. The questions seem to become evidence, and there's lots of innuendo because this is a CIA operation that was interrupted by terrorism. The CIA is never going to tell you everything, so there's lots of room for innuendo. There's never going to be answers to all the questions, but there's still no evidence of a scandal. Tragedy? Absolutely. Scandal? There's nothing. Even the New York Times said today, missteps don't add up to a scandal, and confusion after the fact doesn't constitute a cover-up. And what you see so much, I think, is the right trying to raise the political price for Obama in this when there's really no there. And we saw some of that with John McCain, who's been trying to get to the bottom of Benghazi. It's been so important for him. And yet he skipped the classified hearing about this. Why did he skip it? Oh, because his office said that he had a previously scheduled engagement. And what was that? A press conference in which he would then diss the president. Really?
And demand answers.
Well, really?
Which he could have been getting at the
Really?
Let's put McCain in perspective here, because McCain has sort of been the point man in ascending on Capitol Hill and going after the White House and in really insinuating that there's something, you know, not on the up and up going on here with the White House. John McCain, I think it is safe to say, is acting primarily out of sour grapes here, because that is what has defined this guy's political career. I always say, think back a decade. It's hard to remember now, but John McCain was every Democrat's favorite Republican 10 years ago. Why? Because John McCain ran against George W. Bush in the 2000 Republican primaries, and he lost. And he didn't take the loss well. And when George W. Bush became president, John McCain didn't miss a single opportunity to use his power in the Senate to stick it to the Bush administration. Hard to believe now, John McCain in 2001 voted against the Bush tax cuts. John McCain in 2001 was calling for closing the gun show loophole. John McCain in 2001 was pushing for a patient's Bill of Rights. John McCain in 2001 was flirting with abandoning the Republican Party and either running as a Theodore Roosevelt-style independent in 2004 or even switching to the Democratic Party. That was John McCain exacting his version of revenge on the guy who beat him in 2000. And I have seen the exact same thing from John McCain trying to exact revenge on Obama since 2008. This is a grouchy guy who came back to the Senate, who's using that seat because of sour grapes, and I'm sick of it.
Well, for many of us, this is not a political issue, and for many of us, this is not about revenge. There are legitimate questions, whether you believe it or not, and there is some evidence that things aren't quite on the up and up, but we're getting to the bottom of it. Straight ahead.